Bedding. So last week we talked about tents and we talked about tarps and other types of coverings that you may use. Now, if you're camping out in the summer, honestly, you don't need a sleeping bag. Blankets will do you just fine. And we get caught up, trying to have the coolest, newest, and the best and the lightest weight and whatever gear, when in reality, our forefathers, they just took what they had and they dealt with it. I got to talk to a gentleman who was a scout in the 1940s, and it was one of the most fulfilling conversations I ever had since I started early 20th century camping. Because I had it in my mind, I had preconceived notions of what scouts did, because I've looked up pictures, and luckily there's lots of pictures out there. But talking to this guy who's born and raised and lived in rural Ohio, when he was talking to me about his experience and his troop experience, out of his entire troop, there's only like one or two kids that had sleeping bags, and they usually weren't even sleeping bags from scouting. They were sleeping bags from like the World War II, afterwards. So most of them just use their blankets, and most people just camp in the summer in warm weather. You don't really need a sleeping bag. And there's ways to take your blankets and make them very versatile. You can make a bag out of them using blanket pins, which is a very common thing to do, and back then. So anyhow, I digress. We're talking about my kit, the American Revolution, and to inform you about the American Revolution, just to celebrate a little bit. Soldiers, generally speaking, struggled, at least colonial soldiers, struggled with getting outfitted with blankets. No surprise, right? Like it wasn't, we weren't really all that well supplied until Spain and France joined the effort, and we were able to partner with them, and we actually got a lot of French and Spanish supplies to use, whether it be cloth, whether it be tents, whether it be blankets, ammunition, etc. Okay? So a lot of soldiers, they had to use whatever they had from home and maybe got along the way from other people. So the most common colors of blankets, and you especially want to go with wool because wool is going to keep you a lot warmer than, say, cotton or even linen. The colors tended to be white, okay, like this one here. Now the blankets themselves also tended to be in two panels because we didn't have mass manufacturing here in the colonies. The looms that we had were, much shorter, so they would take two pieces of loomed wool and they would sew them together. So if you're looking for a historic blanket, you kind of want to look for a white or an off-white, maybe a cream color. Sometimes they would have stripes that were put into them. These are heirloom wool blankets from going way back to my great-grandmothers. And so I'll probably be using these a little bit, but unfortunately these are lighter weight wool in comparison to my Civil War blanket. So when you're talking about weight and you're talking about layering up your wool, especially for warm weather, and Sarge Vining over at Bannerman's, he and I had a conversation on the Guild, and there was a question that came up, especially when you're talking about like a Hudson Bay blanket, which has a lot more loft in it than, say, the Civil War blanket here. Do you put your blanket that has more loft underneath the other blanket, or should the one with more loft go on top? Now, this is something that could be debated back and forth, and there may not be one true answer because it probably just depends on the blankets themselves and the combination. You just kind of have to figure out based off of experience. However, the general rule of thumb is the reason why anything is insulation is because of the air pockets and whatever it is. It doesn't matter if it's down, if you've got a down bag, or cotton, or copac, or something else. You want the gaps to trap the warm air of your body. So if you were to put something heavy on, say, your down sleeping bag and it squishes, well, now you just lost a tremendous amount of insulative value. So with wool is a little bit more durable and rigid to compression than, say, down sleeping bags, okay? So you can't compare apples to oranges, however. So depending on your bag, depending on your blanket, depending on the weave, depending on the percentage of wool and the type of wool, all those different variables could come in to give a conflicting argument. When I do my Civil War reenacting, sometimes I do really cold weather events. And I have a couple of these authentic 5-pound wool Civil War blankets. And I also have some military blankets. Now, the military blankets are a tighter weave than what these are. This is I mean, you can blow through it fairly easy compared to some of the military blankets I have. So what I do is I put this on top of my military wool blanket, and it seems to work out better for me than having it the other way around. So there you go. Now, soldiers also had trouble with being equipped with greatcoats or overcoats. So having a blanket became very useful for a Revolutionary War soldier because you could actually use the blanket and turn it into a coat. And I'm going to show you how to do that now. This cloak that we're going to make out of our blanket is called a Matchcoat. It's not that hard to make. All you nearly need is some rope and maybe a pen, like a blanket pen. Now, I don't have a historically accurate blanket pen. I only have a more contemporary style blanket pen. But if you really want to be a living historian of the 18th century, then getting a cast iron blanket pen or a cloak pen, that's what's really truly appropriate. Okay, so you've got your blanket here. And you're going to fold it in half, like so. Okay, now this is a very large blanket, which is perfect for staying warm. You take your blanket and you want to put it roughly so that the bottom of the blanket is towards your knees, so you're right above your knees. This might need to go a little bit higher. Okay, you want to wrap it around you. You want to take your belt, or you want to take your rope in my case, and you want to wrap it around. So do that. We're going to close it like so. Take your belt, wrap it around your waist, tie it off. There. Now, if it's too warm, you can just drop it and let it hang. Kind of like a kilt. But if you get cold, you can bring it up. Like so. And wrap it around you and keep yourself warm. Now, hopefully, my microphone's not going to get muffled for this next part. Because ideally, you'd want to be able to use your arms, right? So you would take your blanket pen or a cloak pen, and you want to put it right below where your neck is. So now you can still use your free arms as needed. Take our blanket pen like so. Join it together. Now, obviously, you'd want to put more material to it. But now, you're free to move around. Overall, the back is completely covered. Your head is completely covered. And if need to, you can drop it down like so. And then you can sport your finest headwear like I am. Now, you've got yourself an overcoat, right? So this is very practical for soldiers who didn't have an access to an overcoat. Now, I do a lot of Civil War reenacting. Generally speaking, in the Union side, you were given and you were issued an overcoat. And then during the warmer months, you would ship it back to the depot for it to be stored. And then you would recover it during the cold winter months. So there you go. That, my friends, is the Matchcoat. Now, I know a lot of you are really into woodcraft or bushcrafting. And when you think about an anorak, because a lot of people will take wool blankets and they'll make an anorak. This is the predecessor to the anorak. And it doesn't have any pockets. I mean, I guess you could use the sides here for pockets, you know, and right behind you in the back, you could throw some stuff in there as pockets. But overall, this is all you need. Now, if you like this video, please click like, because it helps other people find it and it helps this channel. We really appreciate it. If you have a particular wool blanket that you like to use, especially if you sleep with wool blankets, generally speaking, I don't. I prefer to stay nice and toasty in a modern sleeping bag. I've slept out in the cold weather with my wool blankets plenty, and I don't get very good sleep usually, unless it's in the summer months. And if you're not familiar, or maybe you are, and you just keep hearing me talk about this, but the Preston Mess Kit. Preston Mess Kit, in my opinion, is the best mess kit ever designed. And I should be getting these in the end of May to ship out. It's going to cost $175, and it gets shipped to your door if you live in the continental United States. And if you don't live in the continental United States, well, I'll give you $15 credit to be shipped to wherever you live. Now, it comes with your skillet, like so. And it's very clever. It's got a little wire lock in there so you can use it as a skillet. It comes with the plate. You can actually combine the skillet and the plate to create a baking device or container. So just like the blanket that I've got, it's always nice to have something that you can use for double duty. Now you got yourself a container, you've got yourself a cup or a pot. It's more like a pot, I guess, with a folding handle that comes up and locks into place, and a canteen. And it's a 54-ounce canteen. All this is going to be made out of 316L stainless steel, which is pretty premium stainless steel, perfect for camping and perfect for backpacking or what have you. So again, if you're interested, in the description box below, there's a link. You can purchase it directly. Now again, I urge you to join the Camp Crafters Guild, especially right now as we have our weekly challenges. It is free. There's a paid compartment to it. If you want to get the paid side to it, there's a few more areas on the guild that you can explore. But in general, it's free and you can participate in the challenges for the free side. We just love to have you around our campfire. But every single week, we are going to have a buildup of different camp gear. By the end of the year, you will either have a checklist of everything you need to take camping that's appropriate for whatever your goal is, or if you follow along, you will have an entire kit. That way you can use it for the outdoor adventure that you choose. So if you like this video, please click like. If you want to see the video about the Preston Mess Kit and how it can be used, then check it out here. It has close-ups and all that good stuff. If you'd like to check out my video playlist of other camping adventures and outdoor gear, then check it out here. Hope you guys have a wonderful week. Give a kiss to your loved ones. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.